So I met Darren about 3 years ago. He came over to work with the company for the summer. Didn't really get to know him, but he ended up moving to Florida permanently about a year ago, and that's where we kind of started talking a little bit more.
After moving here, one of my main goals was to get to know the team that I worked with, and one of the ones I connected with well was Josh. And, main reason why, we work pretty much with international customers all day, and he helped me translate Spanish 90% of the time my first few weeks there. Sorry about that.
You know, just talking to Darren at work, he just randomly, he moved about a year ago, and he randomly comes to me and telling me how excited he is about having Sundays off. So I'm like, bam, this is an opportunity that God is putting in front of me. So I guess Darren is like, you know, I have off Sundays. I was like, yo, you should come to church.
The interactions that we had on and off the floor were something special, and I told him my schedule, like, hey, let's hang out sometime. And I told him I was off on Sundays, and that's when he was like, oh, you're off on Sundays? Cool, come to church.
It seemed like Darren was interested. He was just like, yeah, I gotta pass by. So when I approached Darren, it's just kind of how I approach everyone at work. Just, you should come, you should see what we do. It's different.
After thinking about his request, some of the things I've struggled with the last few years of my life is finding kind of the courage to go to church. Because I felt like if I was to go to a church, would I be judged? Would the message feel more of a hinder to me than a help? So for him to ask me, are you off on Sundays to come to church? It was a great thing.
Seeing Darren walk in the doors, I was excited. I invite a lot of people to church. Not everybody comes, and that's gonna happen. Not everyone's gonna show up, but when they do come, it is something special. So seeing that he came, I wasn't totally expecting it, but I was happy to see him there because I knew there was a chance that his life could change that day.
So the first time I walked into the church, a few weeks after he asked, the moment I walked in, they had greeters, they had people to hug me, and the funny thing was, they hugged me and greeted me like they saw me the week prior. The service was phenomenal. Pastor Ezekiel truly spoke to I felt like he was speaking to me. So I was like, is this a setup to kind of get me to stay? But it was a great experience. It was real humbling. And it honestly felt like I can make this a home. The decision to be baptized, it was a long time coming. I was baptized when I was younger, but it wasn't of my will. So after months and months of praying and talking to community at TDP, Josh and other people, they definitely made me feel comfortable with it. They definitely made me feel comfortable, and it's not something that was forced. It was something that kind of awakened within me, and I knew I wanted to do. I wanted to change my life. I wanted to be a better person. So the things I struggled with for 5, 6, 7, 10 years now, I knew I wanted to face those. I knew I wanted to face those challenges. And I knew cleansing, being baptized was my time to do that.
Seeing Darren get baptized was emotional, especially because it all came as a result of an invitation. I didn't expect to see baptism. I didn't expect for him to receive Jesus, but that all happened. And seeing that, it was just kind of like dotting the I, like crossing the T. It was the experience. It was just wrapping up that experience. So I was excited to see that.
So one of the messages that stuck close to my heart from TDP Church was that once you're saved, once you're baptized, when you go out the doors, you're going to have the same exact light that you did before. The same obstacles are going to come up. The same fears are going to arise. But the difference this time is, instead of doing it for myself, instead of trying to do it all on my own, physically, mentally, and spiritually, I had God on my side. So the biggest thing that has changed for me is that I have God on my side, and I have a phenomenal community to help me along the journey.
I talk to a lot of people about inviting others to church, and I think the big fear is, if I don't invite that person, I could be stopping so many other people from experiencing God.
Honestly, if Josh never reached out to me, I don't know if I would have went. Because it took me a few years to feel comfortable to even try to find a church. So would I have done it within the first 4 or 5 months that I lived in Orlando? I honestly do not know.
So I have to kind of move past my laziness and my desire to kind of just go to church and show up and to do the work that God called me to do, which is so simple, just inviting people to church. I'm doing something I love, and I want people to be a part of it.
So this last year has been truly eye-opening for me, and it's allowed me to honestly be able to reach out to others as Josh did for me. I had fear and hesitation in my heart and spirit, my mind for years. Am I the person to do this? Am I where I want to be? So who am I to reach out to these people? But after being baptized, after reading into the Word of God, after coming to church in and out every Sunday, I was able to honestly reach out to people the way Josh did for me.